Where the fuck's the remote? Fuck off, cat! Alright, so we're just going to be going through this week's NRL games, mainly just as part of testing, just to see if there's a few things that we can add to the show, for me to try out some different editing software and things like that, but also so we can go through the big matchup on BJ Game Day League between my Tunnel Snakes and Joshy's Psycho Circus. So first we'll start with the Roosters versus the Dragons. 20-10, the Roosters got up over the Dragons. Latrell, Crichton and Takiako all crossing over, with Latrell getting 4 from 5, and for the Dragons we had Zach Lomax and Matthew Duffy both crossing over, with Zach Lomax getting 1 from 2. In the SuperCoach we can see Takiako and Crichton top scored for the Roosters, where Frizzell and McInnes both top scored for the Dragons. It was quite a good match. The Roosters absolutely mauled the Dragons in the first half, but the Dragons came back quite strong in the second half. Pretty much they were competitive all the way up till the 80-minute mark, but unfortunately they couldn't get up over the Roosters there. The game I'm reviewing for this match was Assassin's Creed 3, the remastered edition for the PS4. As you'd expect with a remaster, it's pretty much the same game, except that it looks a lot prettier. It's a shame they didn't fix up a lot of those mechanics with a few things like the sailing. They could have made that a little bit nicer, similar to how they had it in Assassin's Creed Black Flag, just made it a little bit more responsive and things like that. But definitely worth picking up if you're an Assassin's Creed fan, and definitely worth picking up if you haven't played Assassin's Creed 3 before and you want to catch up with the story. Our second game of the round was between the Storm and the Warriors down there in Melbourne. It's absolute fucking cracker, this one. 13-12. The Storm were able to just get up over the Warriors. Had Cameron Munster, Jerome Hughes crossover. Cameron Munster got 2 from 3, and Brady Croft kicked a field goal to get over the line. For the Warriors, we had Adam Blair, Maumalo, and Harris Tavita. He kicked 2 from 3, and it was a fantastic game. As I said, the Warriors played with a lot of heart. They were right in it up until the 75th minute, when Cameron Munster kicked a penalty goal to level it up, and then Brady Croft kicked a field goal off the upright over. Very exciting stuff to get over the line. So with the SuperCoach, we had Smith and Munster were the top scorers for the Storm with 83 and 68 respectively, and Mamalo and Blair were the top scorers for the Warriors. A bit of a sweet revenge there for Adam Blair. He was talked about in the press a little bit during the week that he was a bit overpriced for the Warriors, and he was a bit old and his contract was too long, so I'm sure he's happy that he was able to answer the critics with a solid performance there for the Warriors. So for the BJ and Game Day League, where we're currently up to as I record this, Tunnel Snakes are leading Psycho Circus 269 to 173. However, those projected scores are predicting that Joshy will eventually get over the line against me. He did make some late changes to his team which actually dropped his predicted score to less than mine, but unfortunately those projected scores didn't eventuate, or aren't eventuating so far. We both had Tedesco, who scored 51, which is below his projected score. Latrell Mitchell, he scored well below his projected score, 71. And Jerome Hughes, he scored 49 instead of his projected 57. So Tunnel Snakes underperforming as usual. We did have some common players in Munster and Burr. Munster scoring pretty much spot on his projected score, and Lachlan Burr scoring 54 from his projected 65. So not looking good for the Tunnel Snakes so far this week. We'll see how things go as the round progresses. The video game I was playing while I was watching this game was Donkey Kong Country 2 on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, a bit of a classic SNES game. If you haven't had a chance to play it, I do suggest that you try and track it down. I do believe it's available on the 3DS Virtual Console store. Absolute ripper of a game. Tough as nails compared to modern games, a lot of those old school Nintendo games, and definitely when you're trying to watch a game of footy, an exciting game of footy at that while playing it, it can be quite difficult, and there was a lot of stupid deaths, a lot of falling into lava pits and missing jumps and accidentally rolling off platforms. But definitely Donkey Kong Country 2, or any of the Donkey Kong countries, give them a crack. They're fantastic games. Just be prepared that they'll be a little bit tough in places, especially as you get to those later stages. Our third game of the round saw the Bulldogs get up over the Cowboys. Ockenbaugh, he crossed over for one. Harawira Naera crossed over for a double, and Josh Jackson got over for one as well. Reece Martin kicked 4 from 4, whereas Justin O'Neill got over, Ben Hampton got over, and Kahu got 2 from 3. The scoreline's a lot closer than the game actually predicted with this one. Even though it was 6-all at half time, the Bulldogs never really looked like they were too far out of control. They played the more aggressive, more chancy style of football, and they dared, and who dares win. With the SuperCoach, Harawira Naera top scored for the Bulldogs with 132 in the SuperCoach, Martin with a solid 79, and on the Cowboys side of things, Maguire and McLean scored 70 and 65 respectively for the Cowboys. The game I was playing during this match was NBA Jam Tournament Edition for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Just classic NBA. Really, there's probably no better basketball game that's ever been made, in my opinion. It's just still a fantastic game to play. Just the arcade action and the outrageous dunks, and it's just a fantastic video game still to this day, with all the best NBA players the 1990s can offer, except for Michael Jordan, obviously. So NBA Jam Tournament Edition, if you've never played that, you might want to give it a crack. Fourth game of the round saw the Penrith Panthers go down to the pride of the league, the South Sydney Rabbitohs, 18 points to 22. So for the Panthers, Maloney, Watney, Zalesniak and Kikau all got over, and Nathan Cleary 2 from 3 conversions and a penalty goal. And for the Rabbitohs, Turner, Allen Walker and Gagai all got across, and Adam Reynolds got 3 from 5. In the SuperCoach, the top scorers for the Panthers were Kikau and Maloney on 96 and 61, and for the Rabbitohs it was Walker and Murray on 101 and 80 respectively. So Walker tons up there. So not really a very interesting game, this one. It's been very nice this year to go for the Rabbitohs, a team that can essentially play like shit and still come away with the win at the end of the game. A lot of on their line defence the Rabbitohs had to do tonight, but a lot of it was because of their own mistake. Still got across, still got away with the win, which just goes to show how good the Rabbitohs are this year. But as I said, not a very entertaining game. Sure, some Panthers fans out there wouldn't be happy with a few referees' decisions, but Rabbitohs get away with the win again. So in the big matchup between the Tunnel Snakes and Psycho Circus, that projected score has lessened, or only 5 in it now in the projected scores, thanks to a good effort by Ockenbaugh and Gagai in their respective matches, and some underperforming by Cleary and Blake in their matches. Hopefully we'll see that swing a little bit more my way tomorrow. So the video game I played during this one was Marvel Superheroes War of the Gems for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. I haven't actually played this one before tonight. Interesting little game, Capcom game. I would describe it as a combination of Final Fight and Mega Man with some Marvel skins on it. So you choose your superhero, choose your level you want to fight through, and fight through it. The game's a little bit deeper than I expected it would be. I was expecting it to essentially just be a Final Fight clone with Marvel characters, much like the Punisher game, which is excellent. But this one, as I said, it had a lot of Mega Man mechanics, like choosing your levels. There's sideways movements. It's a sideways beat 'em up, but there's no sort of up and down. It's got more platformy elements to it. And there's a training room where you can go and practice with the different Marvel characters, different proper Avengers characters: Captain America, Spider-Man, Hulk, Iron Man and Wolverine. We'll probably give this one, I probably didn't play it enough because I was watching the game too much to give it a solid review, but I'll definitely be going back to play through this one just because I think there might be some more interesting elements to the game as you get deeper into it, but definitely worth checking out if you're a fan of the side-scrolling beat-em-up genre or a massive Marvel fan. Next game up was the West Tigers versus the Gold Coast Titans. Fanua got a hat-trick, Jennings got a double, and Essen Masters crossed for one. Essen Masters got 3 from 6, and for the Titans, Anthony Don, Tyrone Peachy got one, Michael Gordon got 3 from 3. In the SuperCoach, Masters and Fanua both top scored for the Tigers on 95 and 93, and for the Titans, Tyrone Peachy and Arrow scored the top scores for the Titans on 74 and 59. So the Titans started strong early in the first 20 minutes of this game, but after that the Tigers just put the foot down and were able to easily sort of roll them back, went into half time with a 2-point lead and then just continued on with it in the second half. So the game being played during this game was Blades of Steel on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Great little old school hockey game. What I like about this is that you could actually get into fights in this game and knock your opponent out. It was one of the first hockey games I ever played. I don't play a lot of hockey games, but it's certainly the only one that has that feature. I actually first played this back in the early 90s on PC. I didn't know what the shoot key was. I only knew how to pass, and I was actually able to, after hours of playing it, be able to beat pretty much any team passing the puck instead of being able to shoot. But yeah, Blades of Steel on the SNES. If you enjoy your sports games, if you enjoy your sort of arcadey 2-button sports games, definitely worth checking out. For the 6th game of the round, we saw the Broncos absolutely fucking towel the Sharks 29-6. Corey Oates, Glenn, Offa Hengay and Roberts all crossed over. Ozako got 6 from 6 and Milford potted over a field goal. For the Sharks, we had Brayley cross over for their only try and Chad Townsend chucked over 1 from 1. In the SuperCoach, we saw Offa Hengay and Oates top score for the Broncos with 80 and 72, and for the Sharks, Fafita and Pryor scoring 70 and 55. So actually quite a spirited effort by the Sharks considering everything that occurred during this game. Josh Dugan unfortunately injured himself in the pre-game warm-up, and Sean Johnson also was injured quite early on in the game. Another spirited effort by Fafita. He seems to be quite consistent, but I'm worried he looked like he was hurting as well. So a bruised and battered Sharks outfit, done very well to only concede 8 points in that second half, but the Broncos just relentlessly towed them up. So for the BJ and Game Day League and the big matchup between the Tunnel Snakes and Psycho Circus, Josh Dugan going out prior to the game, it really fucked my team up unfortunately. And now going into the final 2 games tomorrow, there's only one uncommon player left and he's playing for Psycho Circus. That's Sean Lane for the Parramatta Eels, and he only needs to score 30 points for Psycho Circus to get up over the Tunnel Snake. Barring injury, he should be able to do that quite easily. So fortunately, it looks like Clown Boy has got up. So the silver lining is in one of my other leagues, the Tunnel Snakes were actually able to get up over Ping and Ponga, Breno's team. So all of our common players have finished their rounds and currently got about a 40-point lead, which we'll keep because we've only got common players left. So got up over Chili Willy, but it really is a little recompense for losing in the BJ and Game Day League again. Game being played during this one was a Super International Cricket for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Fantastic arcade-style cricket game on the Super Nintendo. One of my all-time favourite games, definitely one of my all-time favourite sports games. So if you haven't played Super International Cricket before, check it out. So for the 7th game of the round, we had the Sea Eagles get up over the Raiders 24-20. Martin Tapau got over, Croker got a double, and Ruben Garrick crossed over. With the conversions, Daly Cherry Evans got 2 from 2, and Ruben Garrick got 2 from 3. For the Raiders, Wrighton got over for a double, and Nickel Klostad also crossed over. Jared Croker got 4 from 4. In the SuperCoach, Waddell and Tapau, they both top scored for Manly with 98 and 91, and for the Raiders, Bateman and Croker both scored top for the Raiders with 77 and 76, with Bateman showing his consistency there. Interesting game. The Raiders got off to a flyer in the first 15 minutes, scoring a couple of tries, but then Manly got into it by half-time. They're only 2 points behind at half-time. In the second half, Cherry Evans went down with what looks like like an ankle injury, and where you'd think that would cause the Sea Eagles to falter a little bit, they actually came along quite strong and ended up holding out the Raiders. The video game played during this one was Super 2020 Baseball, futuristic baseball game, pretty standard baseball fare. I used to play this one in the arcade as a kid, where it seemed to play a lot smoother than what it does on the Super Nintendo, but certainly if it's what baseball is going to look like in 2020, it's definitely something to look forward to next year. The final game of the round saw the Newcastle Knights beat the Parramatta Eels 28-14. Ponga, Fitzgibbon, Gavitt and Pearce all crossed over, and Ponga got 6 from 6. For Parramatta, Sivu and Mau both crossed over, and Moses kicked 3 from 3. In the SuperCoach, Levy and Pearce both top scored for the Knights with 78 and 75. Sivu and Mau top scored for the Eels, Sivo turning up with 103 and Mau on 85. So the Newcastle Knights came out swinging in this one. It was 20-8 at half time, but it seemed like they punched themselves out a little bit with the Eels coming back a little bit, but they never really looked in it at all. Convincing win. In the big matchup in the BJ and Game Day League, as predicted earlier, Psycho Circus did get up over the Tunnel Snakes. I did make a late change, replacing Sivo for Garrick. It was my only chance to actually have a decent shot at getting up over Psycho Circus, but it didn't eventuate, and it actually hurt me pretty badly in the overall scores, and it's nearly cost me the game against Pinga Ponga, where that's ended up on 1,060 to 1,057. So no doubt I'll get screwed over in the match reviews and go down to Pinga Ponga in that league as well.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer? Every night, I can feel my leg and my arm, even my fingers. The body I've lost. The comrades I've lost won't stop hurting. It's like they're all still there. You feel it too, don't you? I'm gonna make them give back our past.
For the games played during this one, I actually played a few games. I played a little bit of Castlevania, and I also played a little bit of Back to the Future 2 on SNES, but ended up settling with Wild Guns, a classic Western shooter. Still plays good, as a lot of SNES games are a lot harder than modern games. Found myself dying a lot, but that's probably because I'm used to the soft games that get released these days. But definitely try this one out if you've got an opportunity. So that wraps up this week's round. I hope your team did a lot better than mine did. Seems like there's a few low scoring teams out there this week, a few pods that didn't quite perform, and remember to tune in on YouTube on BJ on Game Day on Wednesdays for all the latest updates from people who know more about what they're talking about than me. Anyways, have a good one. Cheers.